Michael Myers government experiment. A Reddit theory from 2021 suggests Michael Myers was created as part of a secret 1950s government super soldier program. Posted on r/fan theories in June 2021, this theory speculates on Myers' seemingly supernatural abilities. It proposes Michael was born October 19, 1957, as the result of a clandestine U.S. government project during Cold War tensions. Scientists allegedly aimed to engineer the ultimate soldier with enhanced strength, intelligence, and resilience to assault. According to the theory, the Myers family adopted this experimental child to raise him as normal until he was ready for military training. The scientists successfully gave Michael enhanced physical abilities and rapid healing, but failed to replicate emotions. The theory claims Michael lacks a soul, resulting in a pathological disregard for human morality. This would explain Michael's seemingly immortal nature throughout the Halloween franchise, and account for his guerrilla-style killing methods and remarkable intelligence despite his lack of formal education. The theory suggests he embodies the perfect assassin because he was intentionally crafted as one. An alternative theory suggests Michael is the Antichrist, supported by writer Daniel Farron's work on Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. This theory attempts to provide a logical explanation for Michael's superhuman abilities that the franchise deliberately leaves mysterious. The super soldier angle reflects Cold War-era paranoia, while the Antichrist interpretation connects to horror's religious themes. However, Halloween creator John Carpenter intended Michael to be an inexplicable force of evil, making any origin explanation contrary to his original vision. Dr. Loomis created Michael. A 2021 theory published on Thought Catalog suggests Dr. Loomis manipulated young Michael Myers into becoming the killer we know. The theory posits Dr. Loomis met Michael before the 1963 murder of Judith Myers, possibly treating him for behavioral problems. The original Halloween, from 1978, provides no information about the Myers family history or when Loomis began treating Michael. One version suggests Loomis could have been treating Judith Myers, who was 15 at her death, and preyed on her. An alternative version proposes Loomis orchestrated the events of Halloween 1963 to have 24/7 access to Michael at the sanitarium. The theory argues that 6-year-old Michael was manipulated by a skilled adult into actions he wouldn't be responsible for. This would explain Michael's transformation during his years at Smith's Grove Sanitarium under Loomis's care. According to the theory, Michael's hulking frame developed as a direct response to abuse inflicted by Loomis, positioning Michael as a victim who snapped after trauma Dr. Loomis inflicted on him and his family. This theory flips the traditional narrative by making the supposed hero the true villain. It provides a more believable explanation than claiming a 6-year-old is just evil, while exploring how authority figures can create monsters. However, this contradicts the franchise portrayal of Loomis as a dedicated doctor trying to stop evil, and is highly speculative with no franchise support. Freddy Krueger never assaulted anyone. A Reddit theory from 2018 argues Freddy Krueger was falsely accused and one child lied about abuse, leading to his murder by vigilante parents. Posted in 2018 on r/fan theories, this theory examines Freddy's pre-death crimes. In the original A Nightmare on Elm Street from 1984, Freddy is only implied to be a pedophile. Wes Craven was forced to drop the explicit idea due to real child abuse cases appearing in the news at that time. The film establishes Freddy as a serial killer, whose primary victims were small children. The theory proposes Freddy never sexually assaulted anyone and was falsely accused. Nancy's mother states in a basement scene that Freddy had been murdering kids, including Nancy's older sister. The 2010 remake made Freddy explicitly a child molester, but the original kept it ambiguous. Craven stated in interviews he removed the assault angle out of respect after similar cases appeared in the news. The theory suggests this false accusation explains his vengeful nature after being burned alive by a mob. This theory attempts to make Freddy more sympathetic by suggesting he's a victim of mob justice gone wrong, though it ignores that the films clearly establish he murdered children. The theory reflects real-world false accusation anxieties, but doesn't align with Freddy's purely evil characterization in the franchise, and most fans reject this interpretation. Freddy is Nancy's father. An unsettling theory suggests Freddy Krueger is actually Nancy's biological father, explaining his obsession with her. The theory was examined in a Screen Rant 2023 article on nightmare theories. It notes Nancy has nightmares before other Elm Street teens, suggesting a special connection. Freddy specifically targets Nancy more than others throughout the film. The theory proposes Nancy's mother Marge had a relationship with Freddy before knowing about his crimes. An alternative suggests Freddy assaulted Marge, resulting in Nancy's birth. The 2010 remake establishes Freddy as a sexually violent individual, lending some credence to this interpretation. This would explain why Freddy is so fixated on corrupting and destroying Nancy specifically. The theory makes their conflict deeply personal and disturbing, adding an undertone that increases the horror but may be too dark for the established story. This is fan speculation with no canonical support, but it represents the darkest interpretation of their connection. Nancy's special connection to Freddy is emphasized in the films, though this particular explanation remains unconfirmed. Jason's mother resurrected him with magic. A theory from Giant Freakin' Robot suggests Pamela Voorhees was a witch who attempted to resurrect Jason through ritual murder, but her death botched the spell. Posted in November 2024, this analysis of Friday the 13th from 1980 examines Pamela Voorhees' actions. The theory proposes Pamela became a witchy woman after Jason's death, gaining the power to resurrect him. Black magic requires sacrifices, and her murder spree in the first film was an attempt to complete a resurrection spell. Pamela is beheaded at the end of the film before killing her final victim, preventing spell completion. The theory suggests dark energies in her body seeped into Crystal Lake itself after her death. This chaotic magic reanimated Jason as a monster, rather than bringing him back as a little boy. It explains Jason's otherwise inexplicable resurrection in Friday the 13th Part 2 from 1981. Pamela's botched spell explains why Jason is unkillable, as the magic went wrong, making him immortal. The theory accounts for dream visions in the first 3 films featuring young Jason, adult Jason, and Pamela appearing to final girls. It suggests Pamela's spell intentions seeped into the campground, creating a supernatural connection. This provides a satisfying explanation for the franchise's biggest mystery, how Jason came back to life. It makes Pamela more than a vengeful mother by giving her a supernatural element and unifies franchise mythology around Crystal Lake as a cursed location. This popular theory addresses a major plot hole, and since the original filmmakers had no resurrection plan, the theory fills a genuine gap in franchise consistency. By the way, if this is your type of content, I create videos like this regularly. I'd really appreciate if you subscribed. Jason is tethered from us. An Esquire article from 2019 theorized that Michael Myers from Halloween is actually a tethered, like in Jordan Peele's Us, but the theory works even better for Jason Voorhees. The theory was originally proposed for Michael Myers in Esquire in March 2019. Jason never speaks and communicates only through grunts, just like the tethered. Halloween Resurrection reveals a tunnel system underneath the Myers house, connecting to the basement. The theory adapted. The real Jason Voorhees got swapped and trapped among people he can't communicate with for almost 60 years. This would explain Jason's inability to speak and disconnection from humanity. This is a fun crossover theory connecting 2 horror universes, and makes Jason's muteness and isolation more tragic. This is presented as a playful crossover theory that combines 2 separate horror universes for fun speculation, not serious franchise analysis. Leatherface's family are police officers. A dark CBR theory from 2022 suggests Leatherface's entire cannibal family consists of traumatized police officers who discovered his crime scene and succumbed to Stockholm Syndrome. Published on CBR in February 2022, this theory notes the original, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, from 1974, features no police presence despite horrific murders. The film is set in remote rural Texas, where local police wouldn't hear about traveling college kids disappearing. The theory proposes cops discovered Leatherface's crimes, but were so disturbed they became accomplices. It suggests officers experienced a variation of Stockholm Syndrome, living the rest of their lives covering up crimes. The 2003 remake introduced Sheriff Hoyt, played by R. Lee Ermey, who torments victims while posing as law enforcement. The prequel, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning, from 2006, reveals Hoyt's birth name was Charlie Hewitt, Leatherface's adoptive brother. Charlie murdered the real Sheriff Hoyt and assumed his identity after declaring he killed the whole sheriff's department. As a fake sheriff, Hoyt and his family were given carte blanche to continue twisted rituals unimpeded by law. Texas Chainsaw 3D from 2013 features corrupt mayor and Deputy Hartman with a blood feud against the Sawyer family. The theory explores how authority figures can become corrupted by exposure to extreme violence. While the original theory is implausible, the remakes actually incorporated a police corruption angle, showing the idea had merit and adding a layer of institutional cover-up to the horror. Chucky's first-person rule was a lie. A Reddit theory from 2019 proposes that Charles Lee Ray was lied to about needing to possess the first person he revealed himself to, and Chucky could have possessed anyone. Posted in 2019 on r/fan theories, this theory examines Child's Play lore from 1988. In the film, dying Charles Lee Ray performs a voodoo chant to transfer his soul into a good guy doll. Voodoo practitioner John tells Chucky he must possess the first person he truly reveals his existence to, which is Andy. The theory proposes John fabricated this rule out of fear Chucky would possess him. John had a run-in with police the night before confronting Chucky, suggesting he interacted with others. The theory suggests John lied to protect himself, assuming Chucky would pursue a cop rather than a child. John dies from Chucky's stabbing but warns about keeping the child safe in his final moments. Throughout the sequels, Chucky continually pursues Andy, seemingly trapped by this rule. Bride of Chucky from 1998 introduces the Heart of Damballa amulet, revealing Chucky could transfer into anyone with it. A theory from the Carly Ray blog in 2021 suggests the first 3 films were based on John's lie. Chucky pursued Andy unnecessarily for years, when the ritual never would have worked without the amulet. This explains a major continuity error between the original trilogy and later films, and makes Chucky's pursuit of Andy a tragic misunderstanding rather than a supernatural requirement. It adds a clever twist that the villain was fooled into following a false rule. This theory attempts to reconcile a franchise plot hole created by Bride of Chucky's retcon, though creator Don Mancini never confirmed this interpretation. Art the Clown is the devil's baby. A Reddit theory suggests Art the Clown from Terrifier is the cursed offspring of Satan from the short film The Ninth Circle. Posted on r/horror movies, this theory examines Art's origins. Art first appeared in the 2008 short film The Ninth Circle, directed by Damien Leone. In that film, Art abducts a woman and serves her to Satan as a sacrifice. The Ninth Circle shows the woman presumably becoming pregnant with the demon's child. The theory proposes Art is the baby born from this unholy union, sent by Satan to kill Sienna. Terrifier 2 reveals Sienna has an angel warrior destiny, making her demon's natural enemy. This would explain Art's supernatural abilities and obsession with Sienna specifically. The little pale girl in Terrifier 2 could be a manifestation created by the devil to guide Art. This connects Leone's earlier work to the Terrifier franchise in a satisfying way, and provides an origin for Art's inhuman nature, while explaining the angel versus demon conflict with Sienna. The theory is popular among fans seeking answers to Art's mysterious nature, though Leone deliberately keeps Art's origins ambiguous. Terrifier 3 confirmed Art is a demon, but the specific origin remains unclear. Art is Sienna's father's drawing come to life. A theory suggests Art the Clown is one of Sienna's father's drawings that came to life through a portal created by his brain tumor. Terrifier 2 from 2022 reveals Sienna's father Michael suffered from a brain tumor causing him to become abusive. Michael drew disturbing images, including Art the Clown, before dying in a car crash. YouTuber Nerdbox's theory proposes Michael's sketches were portals into a parallel dimension. The brain tumor may have unwittingly allowed Michael to open doorways through his art. Art entered the real world through these portal drawings. Michael drew Sienna's warrior angel costume as a way to fight back against beasts he unleashed. The angel costume becomes real protection against Art in the films. This explains why Art specifically targets Sienna's family. The theory makes Sienna's father the unwitting creator of the family's tormentor and adds a tragic layer where brain disease caused a supernatural catastrophe. It explains supernatural elements through a science fiction angle. This is a creative fan theory attempting to explain Art's connection to Sienna's family, though Terrifier 3 provides different explanations, but keeps much ambiguous, leaving room for theories. Art is a 1990s serial killer resurrected. Terrifier 3 includes a scene suggesting Art was originally a human serial killer from the 1990s who was resurrected by demonic forces. In Terrifier 3 from 2024, demolition workers discuss a serial killer from the 1990s. The story describes a killer who murdered several children and stored bodies at a funhouse. The funhouse mentioned is the same location where the Terrifier 2 climax took place. The worker claims to be messing with his colleague, but some fans believe this is Art's true origin. The theory proposes Art was a depraved human serial killer who gained supernatural abilities after demonic resurrection. The pale little girl from Terrifier 2 could be the demon who brought him back. This provides a grounded origin before supernatural elements and makes Art more terrifying as a human who became a demon rather than always being inhuman. The film deliberately makes it unclear if the worker's story is true or a joke, and this theory is based on potentially unreliable information within the film itself. Pennywise was real person It copied. It Chapter 2 from 2019 features a scene with an old photograph depicting a clown and his daughter from a traveling circus. The film includes a scene where Mrs. Kirsch explains the Pennywise the Dancing Clown origin story. In movie canon, Pennywise the Dancing Clown was a real person whose image It decided was terrifying enough. The entity It arrived on Earth millions of years ago in a cataclysmic event, landing in what became Derry, Maine. It slumbered until the town of Derry was built in 1715, then awoke. A common fan theory suggests It may have been a real person at one point. A Reddit theory proposes Bob Gray, It's human name in the novel, was a member of the True Knot from Dr. Sleep. The theory suggests Gray traveled with a circus, and It copied his clown persona after seeing how effectively he lured children. This makes Pennywise more disturbing by suggesting a real person's image was stolen, and adds a tragic element of someone's identity being used for evil. The True Knot connection creates a Stephen King multiverse theory. The film deliberately created ambiguity about the original Pennywise, and while movie canon says It copied a real clown, the specific identity remains unknown in fan theories that attempt creative King universe connections. If you found this interesting, consider subscribing so you never miss new content. Thanks for watching.